We have a North London derby featuring an Arsenal team that are floundering, and Tudor is to do at Spurs, plus a love story turned dark in the Bundesliga.
Serie A has some juicy matches that will help or hinder anyone dreaming of Champions League. And in Spain, the new number ones get a tough task. Let's see if they can keep it up. All of this and more in this episode 117 of the No Business Soccer Podcast. Hey, Snooze, kick us off.
Let's dig in. Yes. Welcome to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we got almost the full fam. We got more fam actually here today. We got Danny P on the ones and twos. J-Fam, the Brainiac, he is actually out because he's out having a baby boy. Welcome to the world, our boy Carter. And of course, everybody's here to see my boy Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Did you say we had Danny P? I don't remember if you said that. I'm sorry.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. My bad. All right. My bad. What's going on? As you guys know, I am headed to Ireland, Scotland in April. So trying to get to some more scotches. This time I have a sample pack, and we're going to start with this Tamdu 12-year. Look at this tiny little bottle. Anyway, it's a 12-year. It's just a straight up single malt scotch, and all of Tamdu's stuff is finished in sherry cask. So it gives them nice, sweet little finish, and mouthfeel is absolutely amazing. And Snooze, you love a good mouthfeel. So while I take it,
you took that one. I was
like, I switched that. Yeah, I messed up. No, figured it out. But while I take a sip of this, go ahead and like and subscribe on the channel wherever you're listening to. It's probably the best way to let YouTube, Spotify know that, hey, maybe these guys are pretty cool to talk to every once in a while. And cheers.
Ooh. Okay. Decent clean today.
Working on it.
And today's a Friday show for you, Thursday for us, which is going to be our weekend look ahead, where we cover all the upcoming matches for Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and the Prem. But of course, we have a couple of things that we got to cover before then. We got a packed show today, and I am excited. We were talking about it before we got on, like, you know, work gets busy. Things aren't always fun, a little stressful, but man, we get to turn on here, have some fun, talk some football, hang out with the boys, and my boy gets drunk in the process. I mean, what is better than that? Thanks for being here, guys. So with that, let's jump in. Boots on the ground in Austin, Texas for the Austin FC Minute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is time. We got the new threads. I don't know if you can see it.
I know. Look at that.
The new away kit that we have. This is probably still what we're going to open the show with. I think we did that last time. We got a new away kit. But it's time. The MLS season is here, and it starts this weekend with match day 1. And your Austin FC have pulled Minnesota United. And as we know, James Rodriguez just signed to Minnesota United. Interesting, awesome news, because he would be coming to Minnesota. Unfortunately, did not travel with the team. So he won't be here in Austin. He still has to get in shape. So he stayed back in Minnesota. So he will not be here. But, yeah, but enough about them. We don't worry about them. That's Minnesota stuff. So in addition to the new threads, we have some new faces. We have your new number 7, Jaden Nelson, the Canadian forward we got from Vancouver after their loss in the final last year to Miami. Vancouver has had a couple of forwards go off, and the intro Mueller also to the team has him searching for playing time before this World Cup, and Nelson wanted to go somewhere where he can get more playing time in order to have a better chance to make the Canadian team. Thus, welcome to Austin FC.
A lot more time here, bud.
Yeah, we got plenty of work to be done. So not only that, of course, probably the shining star of the offseason, your new number 11, Facundo Torres, or Facu, which is pretty close. The Uruguayan national has records at Orlando, the 3 years he played prior to Palmeiras, where we just picked him up from. So we're hoping to get him back into scoring in MLS, into the scoring of MLS. But Torres has also showed interest in Austin FC due to wanting to also play for the Uruguayan national team for the World Cup. So again, trying to get some more playing time, and hopefully he shines here because we need him to. Not only that, we also have your new number 15, John Bell. He played the last 2 seasons in Seattle. Not a consistent starter, but I mean, he plays defense. He has a pulse. We could use him. We need all the help in defense we can get. And he's pretty consistent. And we did see him on a not a pregame, what are they called? Preseason game, not a pregame, preseason game. And yeah, he was doing pretty good. He looked pretty good out there. And he's definitely needs some work, but we need all the help we can get on defense. And the last of the new faces, your new number 30 is Joseph Rosales, the Honduran, adds to our new midfield. He also came from Minnesota, where he's been a staple the past 2 years, especially 2 years ago when he netted 11 assists, which was freaking awesome. And seeing him play in that preseason, hopefully he can turn that up for us as well. But seeing him play in the preseason and seeing him in person, dude has a motor on him, and I'm looking forward to see what he can do in the verde and black. So hopefully, we can hit the ground running with all of them. I will say for the preseason, we had a few games. Doesn't look like we're hitting the ground running, but we're working on it. But Snooze, did you hear anything about the new people or anything else to add to the new guys we have?
I laughed a little bit there because you brought up all these like exotic names from places, and then you're like Josh Bell, John Bell.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, we got to get
John
the guy
Bell.
A nickname. Yeah,
we
got a nickname for him.
Go ahead.
That was it. No, I'll say that was it for me.
Well, those are the new faces. Let's get to the faces we know that we won't see on Saturday. And it starts with our little Wolfie, Owen Wolf. He's out until the end of the month. He had surgery to address a sports hernia at the end of last month. He's, freaking athlete like our boy John. He had a,
right. Sports hernias.
But he had surgery at the end of last month. Recovery usually is about a month. So he's looking to return in a couple of weeks from now. And of course, the star number, I don't know if we can call him a number 10, but Brandon Vasquez. Brandon Vasquez tore his ACL last July in the U.S. Open Cup. And I remember telling you guys immediately when I saw that, I was like, oh, shit, I'm pretty sure Vasquez just tore his ACL. And yeah, he did. But Vasquez is already back in training or on the training ground. He's getting reps in. He's running, but he's still restricted in practice. Vasquez has done a few interviews, and he's looking to get back in full unrestricted training in mid-March, if you can believe that, 8 months after his injury. So we're all pulling for him.
Like minimum 9 or 10. So that would be pretty quick.
Yeah, he's doing pretty good. I see them on social media doing all their workouts and stuff. And he's his foot in the ground. He's going, man. So hopefully it's a full recovery. But sorry for that. That's a lot longer than an Austin FC minute, but I have spared you guys from all these little tidbits here and there throughout the off season.
You're all getting them right here.
Yes, you're all getting them right here. So that is all I have.
We'll have more once the game is over. We will be there. And as always, if you find us, come say what's up, and Vic will buy you a beer.
First round's on me, of course.
Just randomly, I don't know if I've told y'all this, but I've been getting these emails that it's like a promotion for come live in Uruguay, and it's like trying to recruit U.S. citizens to an easy way to get what's the citizenship in Uruguay so that you can go live there. And there's like the top reasons to live there. And then I don't know, it's just really crazy that it's been happening. It's been coming up. And then I don't know, Uruguay's been everywhere around me. I mean, is it in my future, Vic? I don't know.
Who knows, bro? I think
let's go. I'd love to go to Uruguay.
Or they want you to be like a sleeper agent. I don't know.
That's fine. I'll do that too. Anything else? No, we're good for Austin FC Minute. Now, before we jump into this week's look ahead, or weekend look ahead, rather, we do have to recap. I mean, look at the first legs of all of the competitions that happened in the UEFA competitions, because this was some crazy stuff. Headlines, all kinds of craziness going on. So let's jump in. Let's go to the UEFA competition roundup. And we'll briefly touch on the teams that we cover in the Conference League and Europa League, and then we'll get to the big stories down in the Champions League. So first off, the Conference League today ended just a few hours ago, and the teams that we cover, Crystal Palace, they drew with Zinski 1-1. We also cover Fiorentina, and they beat Jagiellonia Białystok 3-0, and that was on the road too. So good start for our boys in purple. Should be a easy run in to go into the round of 16. In the Europa League, we had Celta Vigo. Oh, just a little there. That was gross. Taking on PAOK 2-1. They win that one. Bologna beats Brand 1-0. Nottingham Forest, fourth head coach in the season, not doing great, barely surviving in the Prem. Don't worry, they go into this one and beat Fenerbahce on the road in Istanbul 3-0. That is incredible stuff there. We also had Stuttgart taking on Celtic, which I was very excited to watch this match. It's the one I had my eyes on the most, and that ended up being 4-1 to Stuttgart, so not really a competition. And then we always keep tabs on Victoria Pilsen, because, Pilsen's the city that we went to, really liked it. Apparently, we're close to the stadium. They drew with Panathinaikos. And then let's see, who else do we have here? Nope, that's it for the Europa League. Now let's move to the Champions League, where there's plenty to unpack, and we won't be able to have time to go over all the games. We'll just touch on them, and then we'll go in a little bit more detail as we get into our respective leagues. So first up on Wednesday, we had Tuesday, we had Galatasaray taking Juventus to the cleaners 5-2. And this was in Istanbul as well. But there was a red card for Juventus. They ended up scoring the first, I believe it was 2 goals before Galatasaray even got one. Maybe they scored just the first one. But either way, Galatasaray took it to Juventus in the second half. I mean, just dominated them, Vic. And it's pretty embarrassing for a team in Juve that Spalletti had them playing pretty well. We also had PSG and Monaco, which Monaco, they went up 2-0 thanks to Florian Balogun. And then they lose 3. They get 3 unanswered goals against them, and PSG end up winning, which is just not good. That was at the Principality as well. Red card for Monaco there. What else do we have on that day, Vic? We had Dortmund. The match I was excited to see, Dortmund versus Atalanta. Atalanta couldn't do anything against Dortmund. Dortmund just looked like a legit squad now. I think they're actually hitting their stride at the right time, Vic. They beat Atalanta 2-0. That one was in Dortmund. And then, of course, the match that everyone is talking about for the wrong reasons, Real Madrid beat Benfica in Lisbon 1-0. Vic, anything about these games that you want to touch on?
No, I don't want to touch on it. No.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Not that far. No.
Yeah, we'll definitely discuss all of the alleged racial abuse towards Vinicius Jr. in the La Liga portion of this, because we do news and notes before every segment, and that's just dominating the news and notes around Spanish headlines right now. So we will touch on that a bit later. But going into the games that happened on Wednesday, Newcastle going all the way to Azerbaijan to take on Karabakh, and it was a 6-1. Would you call that one a belt to ass, Vic? Maybe 5-2 is 5-2 a belt to ass? I don't know.
I would say 5-2 is belt to ass. I always do 5 goals or more. It's a belt to ass, especially by like 3. So I think that's a belt to ass, 6-1. Okay. And they made the trip worth it, because that was a long ass trip from what I remember.
Yeah, it's the longest trip that any team had in the Champions League this year, I believe, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it was an English team this year. But either way, 6-1. Anthony Gordon getting 4 goals in the first half. I mean, come on. It wasn't even close. And Karabakh actually been decent in the past couple of matches they played. They beat a few good teams in the league phase this season. And just when the chips are on the table, whenever the cards are stacked against them, they folded. Newcastle ended up whooping them there. Leverkusen take on Olympiacos in Greece, and it's 2-0 to Leverkusen. Probably the shock. I don't know if the shock. Galatasaray over Juventus is pretty shocking, but Bodo Glimt 3-1 win over Inter at the Arctic Circle. That is insane. I remember watching the game and just being like, these goals are going to be called off. There's no way that Inter is just getting scored on like this. And yet here we are. I mean, at this point, Bodo Glimt they've beaten Manchester City at home. They beat Atletico Madrid in Madrid, and then they beat Inter at their stadium. So, I mean, 3 blue bloods in the Champions League, and they took them. Well, they won these games. Let's just put it that way. I cannot believe it. But now it's a tougher test for them. I mean, they have a 2-goal cushion going into the next game, but that game against Inter at the San Siro is going to be headlines. Let's just put it that way. If Inter can't get that one. We also had Club Brugge taking on Atletico Madrid, and this one was the one we were saying it could be very exciting because of the way that Club Brugge, however you would pronounce it, they play very fluid, open. They score a lot, and we get 6 goals in this one, which typically would be the most in a tie, but we had 7 goals scored in the other 2 games around Europe. Vic, anything else you want to touch on before we move on?
Nope, got nothing.
Okay.
Fun times.
Yes. Great times in the first legs. Remember, these are just the first legs. We do have these second legs coming up. Is it next week? Maybe a couple weeks? Either way, they're coming up very soon. Okay. Then let's move on. Let's jump in and go to Italy.
Let's do it to Serie A. It is next week.
It is next week? Okay. Well, there we go. Not even a little bit of a break. We had a little bit of a midweek madness going on here. Basically, some games being not even games, just one game being rescheduled, and this is the Milan versus Como that was supposed to take place in Milan, but it was moved to Perth, Australia, then ended up being moved back. A lot of drama with that, but either way, it ended up being a 1-1 draw at the San Siro. Nico Paz scored. Rafa Leao scores late for Milan, and it ends 1-1. Haven't had a chance to look at all of the highlights and review this game yet, but just seeing the result and how it shakes up, Vic, it's feeling like it's going to be an Inter Scudetto this season. But let's see. Maybe they have a tough matchup this week.
We will see. And I guess that's my cue. We'll go ahead and get into the match day. Well, actually, first, before we do, I told you I did have a sampler pack of some scotches. So I went from the 12-year. We're going to the 15-year now.
Oh,
focus,
much darker.
Please focus. I don't think it's... Anyway, it's a 15-year now, so I actually haven't had this. We'll see how it goes. While I do that, we'll go ahead and go into the match day. And, of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Serie A Match Day 26. And your first match, our 2 teams are headed in the wrong direction, looking to turn it around. It's Juve welcoming Como.
With the loss to Inter in the Derby d'Italia, followed by the embarrassing loss to Galatasaray in the Champions League, Juve are now looking a little vulnerable under Spalletti. But Como are not in the greatest form themselves, as Vic just mentioned. Although their draw with Milan is a pretty good result, all things considered, Como are very close to getting themselves into Europe, being in the 6th. Being up in 6th this late in the season, and they only have a 4-point gap between themselves and their table neighbors, which happen to be Juve. So a win here for Como puts them in a prime position to not only think about getting into Europe, but also possibly the Champions League, which would be absolutely insane for the trajectory that they have been on in Italy. This is a road game for Como, and you think that Juve are kind of a wounded animal at this point. This just feels like a big, big game in the making, and I cannot wait to see it play out.
And your second match should be a fun one, as Atalanta, who have not lost in Serie A in 2026, look to keep climbing the ranks as they take on number 3 Napoli.
While Napoli earned some much-deserved rest by virtue of being knocked out of the Champions League, Atalanta had to fly all the way to Dortmund to lose 2-0 and fly all the way back to take on Napoli. That is a tough task. It's a brutal run of fixtures for the AT aliens, but the good thing is that their domestic form has been absolutely fantastic. There's tons of firepower on both sides of the ball, and if Napoli can come out and play the game like they played in the second half of their game against Roma, we're in for a hell of a game on Sunday morning.
And those are your top matches and headlines for Serie A Match Day 26. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the match day, because it starts on Friday today. If you're listening to this today, as Verona look to separate themselves as the true number 19s as they take on the newcomers Sassuolo.
Sassuolo can all but assuredly start looking up the table if they can get a win over bottom of the table Verona in this game. It would also be 4 wins in 5, which would more than likely have them on the cusp of Europe, which is just crazy to think about. A newly promoted team doing that. Como couldn't even do it last season, and they came up with a lot more pedigree. So we'll see if Sassuolo can get a win here, and it'll be pretty cool.
And I have to say, there's just a lot more oak in this one. It's a little bit thicker too. It's pretty nice. It's not bad. It's some good stuff. And I talked to the guy. He was doing the tasting. That's the reason I got this tattoo.
Okay.
And he gave me the location of a couple of distilleries. So
Did he have
Maybe
a
one on the
Scottish accent though?
He did. He did have a Scottish accent.
Okay, so it's legit. That's what I'm talking
legit.
about. Hey, you got me excited for that. I thought it was just going to be some, stupid American accent.
No,
come on.
No.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry. We then moved to Saturday, and your first match was your No Business Soccer podcast top match. That was Juve and Como. We talked about that. So we move on to your league leaders, Inter, going on the road to a Lecce team that are on a 2-game win streak.
It sucks for the Milkmen as they enter the game in form off back-to-back wins or 2 straight wins, whatever you want to call it. They finally dug themselves out of the bottom 3 only to get table toppers Inter. And even with the shaky performance in the Champions League, I just can't see Inter slipping up here.
And then we end Saturday with our Lazio looking to bounce back, and they have a good chance to do so as they head to a Cagliari team that has lost twice in a row.
It's 2 teams that are trying to string together results, but just can't seem to figure it out. Our Lazio only have 1 win in 5, and Cagliari come in with 2 straight losses. Cagliari aren't really worried about relegation at this point in the season, but a couple more poor results, and they very well could be.
We then move to everyone's favorite Sunday, as table neighbors fight for 14th place. It's Genoa welcoming Torino.
I don't know why I decided that was a good time to drink, but either way, very similar to the matchup we just talked about, except both Genoa and Torino are dangerously close to the drop zone. It's not a real 6-pointer, but it's not far off.
And your next matchup was your other No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was Atalanta and Napoli. Of course, we already talked about that. So we go on to number 2, Milan, welcoming another team that has 2 wins in a row, Parma.
With Milan drawing with Como this Wednesday, it means that they are now 7 points behind Inter in the table. And realistically, they're the only ones that have a chance to catch them, but it is getting bleak. Parma have back-to-back wins, so they won't be a pushover, but anything less than 3 points for Milan, and it would be a wrap on the Scudetto.
And Sunday closes with Roma looking to not lose any ground in the Champions League competition race. And they get a good match to do so as they welcome a Cremonese side that still has not won since December 7th.
Roma have had some mixed results lately, but Cremonese haven't beaten anyone lately and should give Roma a good chance to come away with all 3 points here. Daniel Malin has completely transformed this team going forward, and we'll look for more goals from him in this matchup.
We then move to your Monday night football doubleheader, and it starts with the relegation battle as number 18 Fiorentina welcome number 19 Pisa.
And I was trying to think, Vic, just randomly, like, why would this be a match that's on Monday night? But then I was thinking about it. You went to Pisa whenever we were in Fiorentina, not in Rome, right? So
yeah.
That means right that it's right there. So that's probably why. It's probably a derby. It's probably like a Tuscany derby or something like that. Anyway, just it dawned on me while we were talking about it. So anyway, now let's get back into it. All right, lock in, bro. Now this is a legit 6-pointer, unfortunately, because it's 18th and 19th of the table, which is so crazy to say about our Fiorentina. So not only do Fiorentina absolutely need to win this with Lecce taking on Inter and Cremonese taking on Roma, you would expect those to be losses. So a win is absolutely vital for our Viola. Let's see if they can do it.
And to close our match day 26, it's Bologna looking to keep the winning feeling going as they welcome Udinese.
Bologna finally got a much-needed win in Serie A last weekend, and then they get another win on the road in the Europa League. Udinese have lost a couple matches in a row, and it sets up nicely for a Bologna win here, but we'll see if they can take advantage.
And those are your matches for Serie A match day 26. Let's go ahead and take a look at a refresher of the table. Don't need too much of a refresher on top because for Serie A is, of course, the Milan, starting with Inter Milan. They're in the number 1 spot. They have 61 points. They are 8 points clear of the next Milan, AC Milan, who have 53 points, followed by Napoli in the number 3 spot with 50 points. And then Roma are rounding out our top 4 with 47 points. And then tickling our top 4 is Juve with 46 points there and taking up that Europa League spot. 2 teams have nothing to do with any Europa Conference League, Champions League, or 3 teams actually, are Fiorentina. They're in the 18th spot. They would be the first team relegated as the season ended today. Even though they got a win, they still have 21 points. They are followed only by Pisa and Elis Verona. They're in the 19th and 20th spot, respectively, with 15 points apiece, both doing their best to take that bottom of the table spot. It looks like no wins recently.
No, but our Fiorentina, they're getting the short end of the stick. I mean, they get 4 points in the last 2 games, and then you look up and it's like, okay, now 15, 16, 17 want to get some points. Are you kidding me? Yeah. They didn't do anything before that. That's kind of disappointing. Anyway, okay. I think we've set it all for Serie A. 25 minutes in. Look at us. We're doing good. Let's do it. Let's move on to Germany.
Let's do it to Bundesliga.
We have some news and notes from around the league in Bundesliga. And it starts, this is what I was alluding to in the intro. This is a dark love story, if you will. Maybe we can call it that. A love story turned dark. January 30th, ahead of Cologn's match with Wolfsburg, a man named Kaiser, who's an amateur football referee, proposed to his boyfriend in front of 50,000 people in the stand at the Cologne Stadium. Not sure what it's called. To which there was applause and cheering and just celebrating of not only a proposal, but a gay proposal, which is kind of it's a thing that we're trying to get more normalized in our culture. And I'm saying normal and our culture as in the world culture, but also Germans, they're just very, what's the word, Vic? Progressive. And that blew up all over the German media. It was everywhere, which was bad news if you're a thief in hiding, Vic, because that's exactly what a local Cologne bar claims after seeing Kaiser being plastered everywhere in the media. To make a long story short, allegedly, this guy embezzled 8,500 euros and stole a laptop while managing this bar, and he just disappeared without a trace. And they filed a police report on him, and I mean, technically is a wanted man. Needless to say that this all took off on its own in another section of the media where they're trying to say this beautiful thing that happened in front of everybody is now being put in the light for a little bit darker reasons. And of course, Kaiser refutes it. Is that what it's called? Rebukes it. But either way, it's crazy how that happened. And a few weeks later, his address ends up being leaked on the internet. And when Kaiser went out to get a smoke, he was attacked by 3 masked men and beat up. There's pictures of him online. His face is all welted up. And he sent photos to the media for proof. And there's just stories about this. Either way, Vic, there's no happy ending to this story at all. That's where we are in it. It's just something that's bizarre and interesting that happened. And all started at our little Billy Goats That Could stadium.
Dang, that is crazy. I'm not laughing at this. I'm laughing. That's Joe Dirt, right? Kaiser? Joe Dirt no, Christopher Walken. Didn't he like save people? But he was like, no, it was Joe Dirt because he was in the witness protection program, and he got Joe Dirt was like, no, it was this guy, and put his picture up.
Yes.
And then they came to kill him.
What are you talking about? Yes.
Thank you for going on with that.
Yes. Okay. You know, you took me around, but yes, you did bring me back to it. Clip that.
Yeah. We'll see if that works.
I was told to say that. We'll see if that works.
Yeah.
But either way, yes, that is hilarious. I never thought about it that way. But yeah, this dude's on the run from the cops. I mean, he says he's not. But either way, like they see him all over the place in that bar. It's just like, hey, that's the guy. Hey, we find him. Where's he at? Oh, crazy story. And then dude gets beat up. Crazy. I mean, it's supposed to be about some love, and it's just turned crazy. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting story for all y'all. So let's jump in, Vic.
Wild times. Let's go ahead and get back into the football. And of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 23. And your first match is the best of the rest. Borussia Dortmund take on a Leipzig side that is on the outside looking in of the Champions League spots.
As I mentioned a little bit earlier, Dortmund are for real, and they are starting to hit their stride at the right time. They've won 6 straight in the Bundesliga and just beat Atalanta in the first leg of the Champions League playoffs. And even though we don't consider them real title contenders yet, they have only lost once in the Bundesliga all season. All season, Vic, they've only lost once, and it was a 2-1 loss to Bayern in October. Now, maybe that doesn't seem real to most of us because we've seen them lose in the Champions League more often than the Bundesliga, but domestically, legit, they have been one of the best teams. I mean, obviously, because they're second in the table, but outside of Bayern, they have been a very, very good domestic team in Germany. And I know that we said Leipzig just aren't as good as we thought they would be this season, but their attacking talent does make for some fun games. It makes up for a little bit of their defensive frailties, we'll say. Dortmund aren't playing the type of heavy metal football under Kovac that they were under Klopp. But they have started to score more frequently with Girossi. God, that is a long word next to a long word. Hard to say. Either way, Girossi is starting to get into form. And I think this one could be a lot of fun. Not to mention that Dortmund have to win this, because if they're still wanting to consider themselves in that title race, beating a team like Leipzig is a must. Vic, I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited too. And I think I brought that up a few weeks ago. I was like, man, we look at the table. Bayern Munich is running away with it. But still, Borussia Dortmund have only lost one time. And
they've lost the same amount of times now, which is crazy. I mean, they've drawn more, but still crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, anyway. And your second match is Mainz, looking to continue their climb away from relegation as they welcome a Hamburg side looking to make it 6 straight undefeated.
We have another spicy matchup here. And yes, it is my pet team Mainz. So you might be like, oh yeah, a little bit of bias here. But last week they fell flat against what we now know is a very good and legit Dortmund side. And 4-0, yeah, it's not great. Can't really say anything against that. But they were on fire before that loss and can bounce back quickly if they can just get past this pesky Hamburg side. But Hamburg haven't lost in any of their last 5 matches and have scored at least 2 goals in each of the last 3 matches. And if you recall, Hamburg were struggling in the first half of the season and were one of the lowest scoring teams in the Bundesliga. So it's no coincidence that the results are looking much better now that their boy, and our boy, the most German name of all time, Ransford Königsdorfer, has started scoring again. Honestly, this is just going to be a fun matchup because either team getting a win is going to be a big deal for them, but more so for Mainz, they've done a really good job of picking themselves up and getting themselves out of the bottom 3, or bottom 2. It's still 3. You get what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Either way, they can't afford to lose any more games if they're going to survive this season. And this is a great matchup between 2 teams that are up and coming.
And those are your top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 23. Let's go ahead and get to the rest of the match day. And it starts on Friday with the match we just talked about, your No Business Soccer Podcast top match. That was Mainz in Hamburg. So we'll go ahead and move on to Saturday as it's another classic battle of the Bergs. And this time it's Augsburg headed to Wolfsburg.
Augsburg have been in great form, winning 3 of their last 4, and they've had flashed this season. And they've had flashes this season of being above mid-table team. But if they can't get 3 points against a Wolfsburg side that are tickling relegation, I guess you tickled that. Oh, that does not look the same. Anyway, they might be getting dragged back down to the relegation scrap themselves if they can't win this one.
And sorry, I'm going ahead and moving to the 18-year now. I don't know if you can see that now. Hopefully this is, I'm going to let this one sit for just a little bit, but hopefully we just get more oak here.
My boy about to be drunk.
About to get lit, bro. But next up, we have the always rocking Union Berlin looking for their supporters' help as they take on Bayer Leverkusen on a 4-game unbeaten streak.
Leverkusen look like they're finally starting to get some momentum with 3 wins in the last 4 in the Bundesliga, and their 2-0 win over Olympiacos in the Champions League playoffs as well. Union haven't won any of their last 5 matchups in the Bundesliga, or 5 games in the Bundesliga, and are mid-table purely because of how bad the rest of the Bundesliga, the bottom of the Bundesliga anyway, is at the moment. Even on the road, though, this should be 3 points for Leverkusen.
And then Saturday continues with the champs looking to keep the return to form going as Bayern Munich welcome Eintracht Frankfurt.
I'd love to make this a top match to watch out for, but I think a matchup with Bayern is just a bridge too far, too early, really, into the reign of Riera at Frankfurt. They showed a ton of promise in the last win over Gladbach, but Bayern, just a newsflash, Vic, they are not Gladbach, and I don't feel like this one will be particularly close. But it doesn't mean that Eintracht Frankfurt are making progressions under Riera. It's just not the great time to play Bayern.
And next up is our cute little mascots in Cologne having a high mountain to climb as they welcome your Can It Be number 3s, Hoffenheim.
Sucks for the little Billy Goats because they get another tough matchup. And even though they've been playing well, Hoffenheim are just too good right now. I love the way they bounce back easily against Freiburg after that embarrassing loss to Bayern. And sad to say, but I think they get another win here on the road in Cologne.
And your next match is your other No Business Soccer Podcast top match. That was Leipzig and Dortmund. We talked about it already. So we go to everyone's favorite Sunday, as it's a battle of the Black Shields with Borussia Mönchengladbach heading to Freiburg.
Gladbach might just be one of the worst teams in the Bundesliga at the moment, but just less worse than a couple others, which will make them stay up. But even in the Black Forest, even with the Black Forest boys dip in form in the last couple of games, they should be able to get this one over the line. I think Freiburg gets the win here at home.
And Sunday continues with the relegation zone clash as number 16 Werder Bremen head to number 17 St. Pauli.
It's a 6-pointer for this one, okay? This one is a genuine 6-pointer. St. Pauli are only 2 points from 2 points behind Werder in 17th, but both are in the relegation scrap as it stands right now. As we say with all 6-pointers, a draw is a really just a pointless result for both teams, so they got to go for it. It might be a flawed logic because, yeah, they can get countered and end up losing more, and maybe a point's better than nothing, but either way, 3 points, both teams need it. They're both at the bottom of the table. I don't want to say I get too excited for this one, but should be fun.
And your match day 23 ends with bottom of the table Heidenheim taking on your number 4s Stuttgart.
I'm a little more weary of calling this match straightforward after the St. Pauli match for Stuttgart a couple games ago, but Double H are bottom of the table in terrible form, 4 straight losses. Stuttgart should be able to get this pretty easily.
And that's it for your matches for Bundesliga match day 23. Let's go ahead and take a quick refresher of the table as we head into this match day. Don't need too much of a refresher on top. I say that all the time because it's always Bayern, but it just rolls off the tongue now. But Bayern Munich are still your league leaders. They have 57 points in the number 1 spot. They are followed by the best of the rest, Borussia Dortmund with 51 points, clear 6 points above them. And then it's your can it be number 3s Hoffenheim, which are 6 points behind them as well with 45 points. And then rounding out our top 4 is Stuttgart with 42 points. And then tickling our top 4 is Leipzig. They have 40 points in the conference or the Europa League spot. And then we look at the bottom of the table. You'll see Werder Bremen in that relegation zone battle or playoff spot. They're number 16 spot with 19 points. St. Pauli have the 17th spot with 17 points. And then Heidenheim, like we just said, bottom of the table, 13 measly points on a 4-game losing streak. Trying to do their best to stay on the bottom of the table, but get it together, Double H. I'm pretty sure Snooze is going to miss calling you guys Double H next year. So
yeah, I know I'm going to have to make up new nicknames for whoever's coming up. But either way, they were terrible last season, barely stayed up in the playoff. I think it's time, guys. It's, go win some, whatever the second Bundesliga tier is called. Zwei Bundesliga. That's probably shouldn't do that. Anyway, I don't know. I just made that up right now. Sounds all right though. But anyway, it's pretty cool. We're getting some matchups between teams towards the bottom, so it's going to start fleshing out a bit more. Should be a good weekend in Germany. Okay, that is it for the Bundesliga. Let's move on to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Before your news and notes, I will say I took my nail's gone now, right? So
nice. Yeah, yes.
You didn't even notice. So I could have kept it, and it was useful to me. So I could have just kept it. I'm not gonna.
You weren't pointing at me like on the camera. I don't know how I've seen it. I guess that's true. That's true. You know what? Okay. Well, I apologize for not noticing that first. I hate that happens too. Like I like right now, I need a haircut. I'm going to go get a haircut. I'm going to come home. My wife's not going to say anything. I'm be like, damn, why did I even get a haircut? Okay. So I get you. I understand.
I'll text her and tell her to tell you something.
Hey man, my boy said he get a haircut today. Give him a little compliment.
Give him a little confidence boost. Come on.
Well, I'm glad we're laughing a little bit because we're definitely not going to be laughing when we talk about the news and notes in La Liga. It is a dark time right now as we go into some of the headlines, or the main headline that's taken over Spain, and that is with the alleged racial abuse towards Vinicius Jr. that occurred in their game against Benfica. And I'm blanking on the guy's last name. What is it?
Nah, you don't got to say his name. It's all right.
Benfica. But either way, the way that this is playing out is it's going to be a he said, she said. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, during the game, Vinicius scores a ridiculous goal, by the way, like just ridiculous, which is we've come to be accustomed to that. So it's not even like we see it all the time. But either way, he goes, dances around. He's Brazilian. Of course, he's going to dance around. Got all of the Portuguese people riled up. And some of the Benfica players pushing around, they didn't like it too much. And then the Benfica player, I'm blanking on his name, puts his shirt over his face and he's talking mess to Vinicius, and Vinicius calls it out right away, runs away, and tells the ref. And essentially, he claims that he called him a monkey, which is like what? Terrible. That is. There's no place for that. And not only that, the fact that it's kind of like twofold. On one hand, if there is racial abuse, then that's absolutely just stop the match. No one go. Like, this guy needs to be off the pitch. Needs to not be anywhere near a football pitch. But the way that it's playing out is, I mean, I almost can't believe it, but they're like saying that in not straightforward words, they're basically saying that because Vinicius went and celebrated and danced and kind of incited all of this, that it was bound to happen or something. You know, that's what it feels like coming from the Benfica side, where they're like, at least Jose Mourinho is saying like, oh, well, yeah, I told him, like, you can't be dancing like that when you score a goal because, you know, you're getting everybody riled up. Okay, that's fine. But now you're making it sound like because you did that, it's okay for them to be racist towards you, which is just absolutely insane, stupid, very dumb that he even said that. Now, I think that there is a place to separate the two, because we can't say that he for sure said anything racially abusive towards Vinicius because he covered his mouth. Like, there's no way that we can prove, or not we, but there's no way that FIFA can prove it or that anything can be proven. So if you take that out of it, which you can't, but just hear me out. If you were to say, okay, there's no racial abuse here, we're just saying everybody got riled up because you did that. You didn't have to do that. Okay, I can see that. But the fact that there's a claim, you shouldn't even be saying it. Like, there's no way that you can continue with that line of thought. And Benfica's already come out and been like, yeah, we stand with our guy. And not only that, he got a call up to the Argentine national side. So obviously there's a lot of he said, she said, and we're never going to know. Either way, it's just crazy. I don't understand how this is even a topic in 2026. Honestly, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, but it is. And maybe he didn't say it. Maybe he did. I don't know. The fact is, there's got to be better protocols for it, because everything just stopped for a bit. And then it was just like, okay, like, hope you get over with that. You were just called this. Can you come back out on the pitch so we can play now? And it's just like, there's got to be a better way to do that. And I heard someone was like, well, just mic everyone up, because then they can't hide. Then they can't cover their mouth. And, whatever you say is on there. And if there's anything, then you just shut the game down right there, which, obviously seems, maybe they said it a little tongue in cheek, as they say. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what you can do about it, Vic. I don't know. It's
I don't know either, man. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, of course, it's not. It's nowhere. It doesn't need to be anywhere near a pitch. But also, just like go and tackle him harder next play. Like don't be personal, be racist. Like, what? There's no point of it. Like, get you and your team in trouble. Like, go and tackle him. You know he's gonna fall down for a tackle. Give him a reason to fall down. Give him a reason to scream on the ground or something like that. I'm not a Vinny Jr. fan. I'm not 100%. Did not need to happen to him though. So
yeah,
I don't know.
And again, before we move off the subject, it's alleged. We can't say that he did it. There's no way to prove it. But Vinny said he heard something. And it's funny the way it came out. Not funny at all, but kind of funny. He's like, "Oh, I didn't say anything racist. I said something homophobic." Like, that doesn't make it better. I mean, either way, I'm not going to say what he said, but either way, it's just like, just stop. Like, how about we just don't do that? Okay. I think we touched on that enough. In other news, lighter news, Villarreal beat Levante 1-0, which helps them establish themselves in third in the table. And pretty much we all know that Levante is going down at the end of the season. But either way, Villarreal needed a bit of a spike. And going into this weekend, they get a win over Levante. And it's looking good for them, Vic. So let's jump into the matches.
All right. Yeah, let's get back to football. And of course, we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for La Liga, Matchday 25. And your first match is number 4, Atletico Madrid, welcoming a number 6 Espanyol side, still looking for their first win of 2026.
With La Liga's matchups all pretty much being top clubs against bottom clubs, there's not a ton on the line this weekend, but the best match on paper would be this game that pits two top six clubs against each other. Now, there's nuance whenever you talk about the top six clubs, because while both sides are in the upper echelon of the table in La Liga, Espanyol haven't won in forever and just lost 4 straight prior to their draw last week. And Atletico Madrid just pretty much told the world, Vic, that they were prioritizing the Champions League and willing to drop points domestically to prioritize player rest for their European campaign, of which they end up tying with Club Brugge on the road. And either way, I mean, it was one of the more entertaining playoff ties, but either way, just I don't know if that's what you were resting your players for, but either way, they're all trained now. And anyway, how many times can I say way? And either way.
Either way. Anyway.
Yeah. But just like Atleti gave Rayo a freebie last weekend in the relegation trap, they could do the same for Espanyol, who are only 4 points above the being mid-table and dropping out of European contention altogether. If Atleti allow Espanyol to easily gain another 3 points, that shift in the standings could be a huge, huge point of whatever contention. I don't know what you want to call it for the end of the season.
And your second match are two of the hottest teams in the league right now. It's your new kings of the league, Real Madrid, held head to Osasuna.
This could be one of those matchups that looks like it could be good on paper, and then Real Madrid end up winning by 3 or 4 goals. I've said that a couple times already, but it's because it happens all the time with Real Madrid. But looking at Osasuna, yeah, sure, they are 10th in the table. They're mid-table right now coming in, but they're only a few points away from being in the European places, and that's because of all the congestion in La Liga at the moment. They haven't lost in their last 5 matches, and not only have they not been losing, they've won 3 of their last 5 matches as well and are in great form going into this match. It's a home game for them, and what a statement it would be to take points from the league leaders. But Real Madrid have won 8 consecutive La Liga matches and are figuring out ways to win despite not playing at their Galactico best. And despite all of the craziness going on with the racial abuse in the game, they did end up winning in Lisbon. So they are just continuing that win streak. And this one should be fun.
Ooh, excuse me. And those are your top matches and headlines for La Liga Matchday 25. I don't know why I'm burping off.
That 18 got you, huh?
Yeah, 18 is getting me. Yeah. Let's go to get to the rest of the match day. And it starts on Friday with Athletic Club looking to keep the once talk of the town Elche headed south.
Elche might have deserved a win last weekend, but were unable to get it, and now they're only a point from the drop zone and desperately needing 3 points against an Athletic Club side that have won back-to-back games. Not a good sign for Elche. Probably a good sign for Athletic Club, though.
We then move to Saturday as bottom of the table Oviedo get a crack at the real-life Ted Lasso and Real Sociedad.
Real Sociedad get a great bounce-back opportunity with bottom of the table Oviedo on deck. And yeah, the bad loss to Real Madrid will sting, but if La Real can come out and win by a couple of goals, all is forgotten.
Saturday continues with Real Betis looking to make it 4 straight as they welcome the relegation-threatened Rayo Vallecano. The
winds are changing for Betis, who have won 3 straight coming into this matchup against Rayo. And even though Rayo did get a win last weekend against Atleti's B team, Betis should be winning this.
And your Saturday ends with both of your No Business Soccer podcast top matches of the week. That was Osasuna taking on Real Madrid and also Atletico Madrid taking on Espanyol. We talked about those already. So we move to everyone's favorite Sunday as Sevilla look to end Getafe's run of 4 straight unbeaten.
I'm interested to see how this one plays out because Getafe looked down and out and yet somehow find themselves with 8 points from the last 4 games and are in 11th in the table, while Sevilla are 3 points behind them in 13th and in worse form. It would be crazy if Getafe gets the win here to make it 3 straight, but Sevilla, you can never count them really out or in at the moment.
And Sunday continues with a match that we're told legally has to happen as second from the top Barcelona take on second from the bottom Levante.
Barca against a pretty bad Levante team that are going down can really only go one way. And it would be shocked if any result other than a heavy Barca win takes place. But again, everything was it any given Sunday.
There's a reason to play the game. But next, the newest addition to the relegation zone, Mallorca, look to do their part to get back out as they take on Celta Vigo.
Mallorca are in big trouble right now and have some tough matchups that they've been through, and it won't get much easier with Celta Vigo here going on the road to Celta Vigo. Celta haven't won in 4 matches and have seen their position in Europe slowly erode. Anything less than a home win for them would be disappointing. But either way, it's a good matchup between teams that have desperate needs on different sides of the table. We'll see how it ends.
And Sunday ends with Villarreal looking to just stay in the top 4 as they take on a solid Valencia side.
Both teams have started to come back a little bit to life. Villarreal did a lot of work in the beginning of the season, and despite their terrible run of form recently, they still find themselves holding on to a top 4 position. And Valencia got the big win over Levante in the Valencia derby, and now they're a couple points above the drop zone with a chance to push on. Crazy that both teams coming into this match have beat Levante last. Huh. Interesting. Okay.
And match day 25 ends with Monday Night Football, and it's 2 teams looking for any form of consistency as Girona head to Alaves.
Well, I obviously don't know shit when it comes to Girona, so I'm going to pretend that I'm not going to pretend that I do. But what I will say is that beating Barca and then drawing or losing to Alaves seems like an unacceptable result. So there you go. Girona, have it.
And those are your matches for La Liga match day 25. Let's go ahead and take a refresher of the table. And on top, you will see maybe Real Madrid, the new kings of the league. They have 60 points. They are 2 points ahead of Barcelona, who have 58 points, fresh off of their loss. Unfortunate for them. Then the number 3 spot is Villarreal. As you said earlier, they got the win, put them in square number 3. And then rounding out our top 4 is Atletico Madrid. They have 45 points. And then tickling our top 4 is Real Betis. They have 41 points on a 3-game win streak, looking to keep it going. And then we take a look at the bottom of the table. New to the relegation zone is Mallorca. They're in the 18th spot. They have 24 points, followed by Levante in the 19th spot with 18 points on a 3-game losing streak. And then the bottom of the table is Real Oviedo. They have 16 measly points, a solid foundation for La Liga. I gotta say, they're probably some of the better looking relegation squads that we have out there. So, there's still like a gap there. But I haven't lost hope on them. There's some other teams I've lost hope on. So,
yeah, it's true because you get a couple wins here and there for Levante or Real Oviedo, and it doesn't look as bad. But I mean, especially when you look at Mallorca, though, like Mallorca all the way through. What is that? Sevilla, 2 points.
Looks like yeah.
I mean, crazy. And Getafe. I mean, that the table is so congested. I know we said we'd look at it in a month, and it's only been a couple weeks since then. But either way, there's still no movement. Like it is still as close as it was before. So, okay, cool. One more league. We're almost there, folks. Let's do it. Let's go to England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
I see my beard's just grown out a bunch. We talked about a haircut. And now I'm like, dang it. I need to
same.
Tighten up a bit.
Yeah, same here.
What do you?
I know how you feel.
For some reason, I feel like you don't know how I feel. And
I couldn't even say that with a straight face. I was trying so hard to keep a straight face.
That's right. So, let me get my notes here. We have the Prem, right? Yes, we are here. Okay. Yes, this is what I would love to tell you the news and notes for the Prem, Vic. I would gladly do that for you. Arsenal drew 2-2 with bottom of the table Wolves on Wednesday, and it leaves Manchester City just 5 points behind them in the title race with a game in hand. This, according to Opta, was the first time in the Premier League era that the team at the top of the table dropped points after leading the team at the bottom of the table by 2 goals. Incredible stuff. And I'm going to say that again because in case you didn't follow along, this is the first time in the Premier League era that the team at the top of the table dropped points after leading the team at the bottom of the table by 2 goals. Crazy stat. Arsenal have only picked up 10 points from a possible 21 points in the last 7 games, and it leaves it left the Wolves fans singing second again, ole, ole, ole. And that is just music to most people's ears. Why do people hate Arsenal so much? I don't know, but it is incredible. I remember whenever the gap was like 9, something 9 points, something like that, and just being like, yeah, it's gonna happen. Like it's absolutely gonna happen. I think whenever Spurs drew with City too, it's like this is gonna happen. And now Arsenal just keep, as the British say, bottling it. And oh man, And you know why this is exciting, because you know what match is coming up. But either way, let's jump into it. Let's talk about it.
Let's do it. Let's go ahead and talk about your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Premier League Matchday 27. And your first match has me conflicted as number 2 Man City has a chance to cut the lead to 2 as they welcome a Newcastle side that has just 1 win in the last 5 matches.
If it feels like we just saw this matchup, that's because we did just see this matchup across 2 legs in the EFL Cup semifinal. In those 2 matchups, the aggregate score was 5-1 to City and really wasn't that competitive at all. But if you rewind all the way back to late November in the league, Newcastle beat City 2-1. So while it does feel like City have the edge here, Newcastle will be coming in fresh off the back of dominating Karabag in the Champions League playoffs. Will they have enough rest and time to recoup, or will that motivation help them in the momentum they can bring from that match? That will be a big question. And with Arsenal dropping points again, the title race could be as close as ever if Man City were to win this one. And if you just can't get enough of these 2 teams going head-to-head, don't worry, Vic, because they drew each other in the 5th round of the FA Cup, which takes place Saturday, March 7th. So we are just getting City and Newcastle all over again. I think that's what, the 5th time they're going to play this season? Crazy.
Jesus, crazy. But that is your lone top match and headline for Premier League Match Day 27. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the matches, and it starts on Saturday. Actually, no Friday match, as Aston Villa look to keep their name in the hat for Premier League champions as they welcome Leeds United.
Aston Villa don't have to worry about the title race anymore. Their main focus will be the Champions League next season, which they are placed perfectly to do so and to end up there at the moment, at least. I think it's a tricky matchup with Leeds, who Farke has playing inspired football at the moment, which is the best way to put it. A 6-point gap at the bottom. 3 isn't massive, but it's something. This is a solid matchup at Villa Park. I'm looking forward to it.
Next up, we have Brighton looking for their first win since January 3rd, going on the road to a Brentford side that still has dreams of Champions League consideration.
Brentford are trying to work themselves back into European places, and they're probably excited to see Brighton on the schedule because at the moment, they are not in good form. The fans want Hurstler out. It just seems like 3 points for the Bees is bound to happen.
And our next match has Chelsea looking to make it 6 straight without a loss as they welcome a Burnley side who just earned their 4th win of the season last match day.
Burnley look like they're going down, but the 3 points they got over Palace will absolutely help them. But Chelsea just look too damn good right now to drop points to a team that are 19th in the table.
Saturday continues with West Ham looking to crawl out of the relegation zone, but they have a Bournemouth squad that has gained a little momentum.
This could be West Ham's chance to get out of the bottom 3 with the win. Bournemouth haven't hit the heights they hit earlier this season, but they have won 3 of the last 4 and are in good form at the moment. It's a tricky game for both sides. I feel like, I want to see Spurs stay up, that Bournemouth can get the win.
And Saturday ends with your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup. That was Man City and Newcastle. We already talked about that. So we go on to everyone's favorite Sunday. And it starts with Liverpool looking to get back to European competition consideration placement. And they have a chance to do so as they head to number 17, Nottingham Forest.
Last season, Forest were Liverpool's kryptonite. You remember that, Vic? I kept listening to him. This season, Forest are on their 4th manager and fighting relegation. Crazy how things changed in a year. And even with them changing their manager for the 4th time this season, they go and get a big win over a great team in Europe in Fenerbahce. It's, it could have been worse for Forest, but also Liverpool could have had a better chance if they would have got blown out in Istanbul, Vic. I don't know. How you feel about this one?
Next time, I guess. I don't know, man. It's just, again, I remember last year they were the only team that beat us for a while. I was like, I don't know. I won't know until we get on the pitch. And
new manager, it feels like a Liverpool win.
I hope so. I hope you're right. But Sunday continues with everyone's favorite right now, Wolverhampton, looking to keep that momentum going from taking 2 points from the league leaders as they take on number 13, Crystal Palace.
Wow, that was a really bad timed burp coming up there. Wolves are fresh off holding the league leaders to a point, and yeah, they're going down, but maybe they're trying to take a few scalps with them. They aren't going down without a fight. Palace are in a bad place at the moment, and how crazy would it be for Wolves to get a point here? That would be cool stuff for Wolves. Cool stuff.
Next up, we have almost twin teams going at it as Puro Pinches Sunderland take on Fulham and Snooze. I'm starting to take a tequila shot for kickoffs on Sunderland games, and I got to say, I'm a fan of it.
No way that's true. There's no way that's true.
I did last time actually.
Sunderland and Fulham are struggling table neighbors, and they've combined to lose 7 of their last 10 games in the Prem. We all know the Black Cats are a different beast when it comes to games at the Stadium of Light. But with the first loss coming against Liverpool last week, does that change the aura around the ground? Let's hope not.
And Saturday ends with your other No Business Soccer podcast. Top matchup of the week. Wait a minute. Sorry. I saw a Tottenham game, so it was just muscle memory. But Saturday ends with Tottenham welcoming the league leaders Arsenal in a classic North London derby.
Yes, it is not. It is a North London derby, and I would love to put this one because it's one of the marquee matchups in England. But it's a North London derby at home for Spurs, and this one could be a derbiness of it all, you could say, could make it one of the top matches. But really, the Gunners will come in pissed because they just dropped points to Wolves, and they know that they have to win this game to keep this weird City side at bay. It's not the best City side that we've seen I would say in the last 5 to 6 seasons, but for some reason, they just staying right there. And I guess the reason is because Arsenal keep dropping points. Spurs sacked Thomas Frank, as we mentioned in our last show, and the last match they lost. They sack him. They bring in an interim manager, Igor Tudor. I'm not sure if we talked about it here yet. Maybe we have, but either way, Igor Tudor's first ever Premier League action as a coach or a player will be in the North London derby on Sunday. You can't make this stuff up. I think Spurs can have a new manager bounce at home and play better and go at it against Arsenal, but still end up losing. And that would probably be enough for the Spurs faithful to kind of take a what's that called? Virtual win, a moral win or something like that.
Victory.
Moral victory. There you go.
There you go.
But either way, I just can't see Spurs, especially this Spurs team with all of these injuries, barely enough players to field a full team. There's just, I don't want to say there's just no way, but it doesn't feel like Spurs have a good chance to win here. Maybe a draw is the closest thing that can be a possibility, but either way, Arsenal drawing to Wolves probably sets them on fire a bit, probably lights a fire in their ass. Is that a good way to put it? I don't know. Either way, don't see it happening big.
Well, if you do, you would be, or Tottenham would be everyone's favorite from there, but we will see. And match day 27 ends with Monday Night Football as Man United, fresh off disappointing part of the nation at least, take on an Everton side looking to get back on an unbeaten run.
This is getting ridiculous, Vic. They always play on Monday night. I don't understand why. I know, Danny P, here comes the blue, and it's going to say we're America's team. Either way, it is insane. Well. We have another Monday Night Football game for Everton. This is definitely a pattern, and I need to get to the bottom of it. They get a Manchester United side at the Hill Dickinson Stadium, pardon me, with that just drew with West Ham last weekend. It feels like Carrick's new manager bounce is officially over, kind of, but either way, they still haven't lost a game with him at the helm. We'll see how this Everton side do without Jack Grealish, who now is confirmed to be out for the rest of the season due to a stress fracture in his foot. Not to say that he was the driving force in that team, but he was definitely a good portion of that leadership and the I don't know, he's like the vibe master for that team. It felt like. I'm not a big fan of Everton. I don't follow him every week. Maybe Danny P can let us know. But losing Jack Grealish feels like a big deal, Vic.
I think so. I know that's the main Danny P's squeeze. Every time Grealish even touched the ball, we would hear it in the group chat. I don't know what it was, but yeah. But that's all for. Not anymore. For Premier League match day 27, let's go ahead and take a look at the table. Of course, on top are still Arsenal. They have 58 points. Bam, 58 points. They are followed by Manchester City with 53 points. Not only that, Arsenal did play. Remember, they did draw with Wolverhampton, so that they have one game. Everybody else has.
I remember that. Hand, so I do remember that.
Manchester City do have a game in hand, and they're still 5 points back. They could cut that to 2 this weekend. Followed by Aston Villa with 50 points in the number 3 spot. And then rounding out our top 4 is Manchester United with 45 points. And tickling our top 4 is Chelsea with 44 points, just 1 point behind them. And just because, I'm on this podcast and they're my team, Liverpool, the number 6 spot with 42 points.
Wow, the only 6 team you've done.
Yeah, the only 6 place team I'll report on. But let's go ahead and take a look at the bottom of the table. West Ham United joins the relegation squad. They have 24 points in the number 18 spot. They're followed only by Burnley, who have 18 points in the 19th spot. And then, of course, Wolverhampton Wanderers, with their draw, make it to double digits. Congratulations, Wolverhampton Wanderers. You're still leaving, but congratulations to get double.
Only a point left to match Derby's points.
Yeah.
And then 2 to, well, it was not Sunderland. Who was the team? Southampton.
Southampton. Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Last season.
Yeah,
But either
Southampton.
way, they're getting there. Look at that. They're getting close.
Not
And
bad.
that is it. I think we're good. Man, that was a jam-packed session. DJ, play our music. Vic, take us home.
All right, everyone. Again, thank you for spending some time with us to talk about some European football. Be sure to like us and subscribe on all of our social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter. That is at No Biz Soc Pod, because those names were way too damn long. Everyone, enjoy the full slate of football that we have this weekend, and we will talk to you all very soon. Peace.
Peace.